Okay, so I'd just like to welcome everybody, first of all, to this session, which is about understanding how we can safely and effectively support families who are experiencing food or financial insecurity and who may be struggling with feeding their baby. This session is designed to help partners and practitioners feel confident in recognising risks, understanding evidence-based practices, and signposting families to the right support so that we can promote safety, dignity, and long-term well-being rather than short-term fixes. So my name is Sally Goodwin-Mills. I am an advanced health improvement specialist in infant feeding and maternity based at Leeds City Council. And I'll hand over to Emma to introduce herself.
Hi, Emma Mara, Health Improvement Specialist for Wakefield Children's Public Health Team. I'll hand over to Sarah Colley.
I'm Sarah Colley. I'm the Community Network Lead for the Wakefield Districts for the UNICEF Baby Friendly Initiative Programme. Over to Sarah Keane.
Hi, I'm Sarah Keane and I'm a targeted intervention worker for breastfeeding support in Wakefield. I'll hand over to Noel.
Hi, I'm Noel Elamrani. I'm the infant feeding lead for Sheffield City Council.
Lovely, thank you all. And we hope you're going to enjoy this short session that we're going to present today. So the outline of the session, just briefly, is we're going to provide an aim for the course. We're going to talk about supporting families safely, why breastfeeding matters and the UK context, the differences between breast milk and formula milk, signposting to other resources, and then we'll just summarise everything we've spoken about today. So the aim of the course is simply to provide you, the partners, with information on the importance of infant feeding practices to protect, promote and support breastfeeding and to support safe formula feeding.
Yes, why giving out formula isn't safe or sustainable. First of all, it's a short-term fix only, so donations meet today's need, but they don't really address the underlying causes of food or financial insecurity, such as poverty or lack of access to support, etc. So it can undermine autonomy of families, so they may feel dependent or assume they have no other options. It may create safety risks, so donated milk can be unsuitable or unsafe. So, for example, they can be close to the end of date, and we need to be careful with that. It hides the real issues. Poverty, lack of support, or unclaimed entitlement stay unresolved. What we really want is to prevent long-term resilience. Families are better equipped when they are signposted to the right support. We want to empower them and increase their self-efficacy. Empowerment builds confidence and dignity. I'm just going to now show you the next slide, which is about the call to action, which really sets the scene to the wider picture in the UK and what are all the forces when it comes to infant feeding and the national landscape. So the current landscape, the breastfeeding landscape in the UK, is that we have a bottle feeding culture where bottle feeding is seen as the norm and as good or nearly as good as breastfeeding. So what's the difference? The UK breastfeeding is highly emotive subject because so many families have not breastfed or they have experienced the trauma of trying very hard to breastfeed and have struggled with meeting their goals. As a consequence, we have some of the lowest breastfeeding rates in the world. We live in a predominantly bottle feeding culture. The formula industry has been effective in making bottle feeding appear as the norm, and infant formula is widely seen as almost as good as human milk. Breastfeeding in public has been viewed as inappropriate by some, and many may feel self-conscious, particularly when breastfeeding older babies. This can make long-term breastfeeding an isolating experience and difficult for mum to sustain. There are many barriers to support culture, society, personal and emotional, and not enough being done to address these. So what is the tools that protect breastfeeding? So the International Code of Marketing of Breast Milk Substitute was adopted by the World Health Assembly in 1981. It is a set of international guidelines designed to protect and promote breastfeeding. They do this by regulating the marketing of infant formula, follow-on milk, bottles, teats, anything that can interfere with breastfeeding. Any baby-friendly facilities are required to adhere to these guidelines. However, the UK law has not fully implemented the code, and as such, it is not fully protecting babies from commercial interest. A code is not a law. It's only partially adopted by the UK, a set of international guidelines designed to protect breastfeeding and regulate the marketing of infant formula, feeding bottles and teats, and it also aims to protect commercial interest from undermining breastfeeding. It is prohibited advertising to the public, the free samples to mothers, and promotion in healthcare settings. Professionals hold also accountability to provide evidence-based influence, free information for parents.
Okay, so I'm going to just talk a little bit about how we can support and empower families. When we talk about empowering families, we're talking about support that goes far beyond just meeting that immediate need. The aim is to help families feel informed, confident, and safe in how they feed their baby. So we want to ensure that they're doing that in a safe way, that they are looking at their long-term well-being, and we're looking at those root causes of insecurity. So a big part of this empowerment is improving safety, helping families to avoid risky practices, knowing where they can access that reliable support. Like I say, it's about strengthening that long-term well-being, not just solving today's problem, but helping families develop resilience for the future. And those root causes of insecurity, it's about looking at those feeding challenges that often reflect deeper issues like poverty or lack of access to entitlements. By signposting families to the right services, we can address these underlying barriers and create sustainable, dignified support. So a lot of people ask, does breastfeeding really matter? Does it matter if we're just handing out formula or if parents choose how they choose to feed their baby? And the answer is absolutely yes. Obviously, it comes down to parental choice. But the reason is yes is for many different reasons. We know that breastfeeding supports baby's brain development and it helps to build a strong, responsive relationship between parent and baby through attachment and bonding. It provides clear, evidence-based health and wellbeing benefits for both the parent and the baby, protecting against a range of illnesses, which we'll have a look at it in a moment, in both the short and the long term. Breastfeeding also plays a really important role in reducing health inequalities. Families facing disadvantage often experience higher rates of illness, and breastfeeding can offer a level of protection that helps to close that gap. It also helps to ease the financial burden on families because breast milk is readily available at no cost, which is particularly important for those experiencing food or financial insecurity. Finally, breastfeeding has a positive environmental impact. Formula production requires significant amounts of water and energy and generates a sizable carbon footprint. So supporting breastfeeding isn't just a health intervention, it's also a meaningful contribution to sustainability and climate health. And all of these factors together highlight why breastfeeding is such an important public health priority and why everyone supporting families has a crucial role to play. So what is the difference? The difference is between breast milk and infant formula milk. They're not the same at all. Human milk is made specifically for human babies, and it provides all the food, protection and support that a baby needs for healthy growth. And it's a living, changing substance that adapts to what the baby needs at each stage. Every mother's milk is completely unique to her baby, and it offers both short and long-term protection against illness because mothers actually share their immunity through their milk. This is something that formula simply can't replicate, no matter the brand or the added ingredients. Formula provides nutrition and it's tightly regulated, but it does not contain the hundreds of active protective ingredients found in breast milk, things like antibodies, enzymes, hormones, and living cells. These components work together to support health, development, and long-term well-being in ways that formula can't replicate. So the key message here is that while formula is safe, nutritionally adequate, and sometimes necessary, breast milk offers a level of protection and personalised support that is unique and unmatched. So this slide just outlines the health impact and benefits for breast milk and breastfeeding, for babies receiving breast milk and being breastfed. So in the baby, breastfeeding reduces the risk of infections, allergies, sudden infant death, insulin-dependent diabetes, and gut health problems as well. In the mother, breastfeeding reduces the risk of breast cancer, ovarian cancer, postnatal depression, and diabetes. And all these illnesses and issues have a really solid evidence base to outline why this is the fact. And for both mum and baby, in the longer term, breastfeeding reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease and obesity, which are huge issues currently. Also, we know that it supports baby's brain development, bonding and attachment, and responsive parenting. So it has a huge impact on both mother and baby.
Whether parents choose to breastfeed or formula feed, or a combination of both, there is lots of help, support and advice available through local services. Parents having access to evidence-based information helps them make an informed decision to provide the best start in life for them and their family. Services in each area may vary, but will likely include breastfeeding peer support, health visitors, midwives, infant feeding teams and support workers, 24-hour helplines and GPs. All of these places will be able to give accurate, unbiased and evidence-based advice to families. The key thing to remember when supporting families with formula feeding is first milk for the first year. This is a really simple but important message. Most infants who are formula fed or mixed fed should be given first infant milk, sometimes called first stage or stage 1 milk, throughout the first year of their life. At age 1, most babies should move on to cow's milk. All other milks, like toddler milk, follow-on milk, and things like hungry baby milk or anti-reflux milks, are all used by companies for marketing purposes simply because first stage milks cannot be advertised in the UK. They do not have any medical research to show effectiveness and should only be used under medical supervision. All the different types of infant formula marketed for babies and young children can seem confusing when families see so many different ones on the supermarket shelves. You can assure any parents and carers that all formula milks, from supermarket own brands to branded formula milks, ranging from approximately £8 to £20 a tub, have the same ingredients. So parents and carers don't need to worry that the more expensive ones are needed. All infant formula on the UK market must meet compositional regulations, so all products are perfectly okay to feed a baby. Cheaper brands still must meet the same compositional standards as the more expensive brands. This means the additional components that a parent or carer might see being advertised are simply not needed. Health visitors and lots of other professionals can give families information on safe preparation of bottle feeds and something called responsive feeding. There are some links to this information later on in this presentation, but a good one is First Steps Nutrition, as they have independent, unbiased information about formula milks and much more. On this slide, we're focusing on prescription milks and why they must never be redistributed or given out as donations. Families often donate these with good intentions because they don't want them to go to waste. However, prescription milks are very different from standard infant formula milks. These products are prescribed for a specific child based on a medical diagnosis, such as cow's milk protein allergy, a metabolic disorder, or complex feeding issues. Because of this, they are not interchangeable and absolutely not safe for general use. If a baby who hasn't been assessed or diagnosed receives someone else's prescription milk, it can cause serious harm, including allergic reactions, nutritional imbalance, or illness. Prescription milks are treated legally as a medical product, not simply a feed. Only children named on the prescription can safely receive it. Please don't give out any prescription milks under any circumstances. Instead, if a family is struggling, signpost them to the appropriate professionals, GPs, health visitors, dietitians, or the Healthy Start scheme, so they receive safe and tailored support.
Let's answer some common myths. What infant formula should I use?
Formula has the same nutritional ingredients. Not one formula is better than the other, despite what companies may say. First infant milk for the first year is all that a baby needs.
What about infant formula milks that claim to help with hunger, colic, constipation, reflux, lactose intolerance, or allergies?
These infant formula milks are not evidence-based and might not be safe for baby. Ask a midwife or a health visitor for specific advice for your child.
Should babies move on to follow-on formula?
There is no need for follow-on formula milks. Again, the first infant formula milk is all the baby needs for the first year of its life. It provides all of the nutrition that baby requires.
How long is infant formula needed for?
From 1 year old, a baby will be getting more of their energy, vitamins and minerals from solid foods, full-fat milks and semi-skimmed cow's milk, which will be their main drink.
Can formula feeds be made in advance and reused to avoid waste?
No, formula needs to be made fresh each time, and this avoids the overgrowth of potential bacteria which can make baby feel unwell.
But there's no support available for advice.
There's lots of local support and also national support available. There's usually 24-hour helplines that are accessible, so please reach out if you do require support.
Do parents need a healthy diet to be able to breastfeed?
No, the body will make milk regardless of diet. A healthy diet is, of course, the optimum, but please don't worry too much if you're not able to have a healthy, balanced diet all of the time.
Do parents need to decide how I'm going to feed the baby before they're even born?
No, there's absolutely no rush to make a decision on how to feed baby. You can just decide once the baby's here in your arms.
As well as the national breastfeeding helplines and website support listed here, families will also be able to access local services, including midwifery and health visitor support for further information, guidance and advice. The NHS Healthy Start scheme gives eligible pregnant women and families with children under 4 a prepaid card to help buy cow's milk, healthy food like fruit and vegetables, infant formula and vitamins for pregnancy and early childhood. It's free to apply and can make a real difference to a family's weekly shop. Families may qualify if they are pregnant or have a child under 4 years of age, if they are on certain benefits, or if they are under 18 and pregnant where no benefits are needed at all. It will help families to buy healthy essentials. It supports baby and child development, and it's a quick and easy online application. Go to www.healthystart.nhs.uk, click apply, fill in your details if approved, and the card will arrive in the post.
So, in summary, we've discussed a lot of things in a short space of time, but we can see and we've heard that breastfeeding matters. It offers a unique, unmatched health, protection and developmental benefits for both parent and baby. We know that formula feeding can be safe when needed, but it requires correct preparation, consistent access and evidence-based guidance, and only that first milk for the first year. Donations are not the solution. People do this with the best intention and to try and help, but they mask the underlying need and can create safety, dependency, and suitability risks. Empowerment is key. We want families to feel supported to make their own decisions. We want to build confidence and to strengthen their long-term well-being. Protecting families means addressing root causes, and handing out one-off donations is not going to help that. So we want to help reduce poverty, lack of support, or unclaimed entitlements by offering the right support. We want to offer safe support, which involves signposting to trusted services, Healthy Start, breastfeeding support, the health visitors, midwives, local doctors, and local community teams. And everyone has a role in promoting safe, informed, and respectful infant feeding support. We hope you have found this helpful. If you need any other support or information about this, please do contact any of us that are listed on this slide. And we really thank you for your attention and listening to this today. Thank you.